In a shocking revelation, an author has written a book many are calling a tome of deception, a relentless parade of fabrications stacked upon one another, each page a testament to the art of falsehood. In contrast, Aretha Franklin, known as the Queen of Soul, left an indelible mark on the music world with her incredible talent, epitomized in iconic anthems like Respect. Secret rumors lingered beneath her brilliant career, frightening charges that presented a complex and shadowy past. The question of whether Aretha had ever had a child with her father was disturbing. As we explore the mysterious life of this great artist, we discover unsettling posthumous realities, including a heartbreaking request that went unfulfilled until her death. Explore Aretha Franklin's hidden history with us. Let's examine Aretha's childhood and family before discussing the shocking accusation. Aretha was born in Memphis, Tennessee, to Barbara and Clarence LaVaughn, C.L. Franklin, on March 25, 1942. Her father, a famous Baptist minister and circuit preacher, and her mother, a skilled pianist and vocalist, shaped her musical and multifaceted life. Aretha's family moved to Buffalo, New York, at 2, then to Detroit, Michigan, where C.L. Franklin led New Bethel Baptist Church when Aretha was 5. Due to C.L.'s infidelity, their family life was anything but peaceful. As we uncover Aretha Franklin's life, prepare to face the harsh realities that shaped her. According to Singing in a Strange Land, Reverend C.L. Franklin impregnated a teen at his church, despite his religious duties. Barbara, Aretha's mother, became pregnant with Vaughn, her half-brother. In 1948, when Aretha was 6, their relationship broke down. Barbara left C.L. and moved to Buffalo with Vaughn. Their children remain. Irma, Aretha's sister, described their anguish, saying their parents' relationship was difficult and their father had a violent temper. She said they had seen women in church throw themselves at their father, so they knew he was a ladies' man. Aretha Franklin opened up on her turbulent childhood and her father's complicated persona, a man of the cloth who magnetically attracted women, in a 2018 NPR interview. Aretha described how, as little children, they saw a crowd of admirers, especially when their father was unmarried, competing for his attention. She vividly observed how women in the front row would sit with their skirts provocatively up, showing their attention in Reverend Franklin. Aretha, who loved her mother unconditionally, was severely influenced by this dynamic. Her heart was scarred by her parents' parting. Cecil, Aretha's brother, said the split broke her little heart into pieces of sadness. Aretha was terribly shy and reclusive, and her sister Carolyn described her as the most affected by their mother's leaving. Carolyn remembers nights when Aretha cried herself to sleep in their bedroom. When Aretha was 10, her mother Barbara died abruptly from a heart attack. In her biography, From These Roots, Aretha described her inexplicable pain. The funeral left her in tears, a young child grieving. During this difficult time, a group of brave ladies helped the Franklin family. Rachel, Aretha's grandmother, and Mahalia Jackson helped the grieving children emotionally and practically. Despite her personal turmoil, Aretha sought to establish her feet in Detroit Public School. The weight of her emotional burdens forced her to drop out of Northern High School in her second year. These formative years, marked by loss and emotional upheaval, shaped Aretha Franklin and gave her music a soul and heart that touched millions worldwide. Her personal struggles forged her powerful voice and unbreakable spirit, giving her the title Queen of Soul. She was raised in the church's rhythms and rituals by her father, Reverend C.L. Franklin. C.L. endured familial strife, noticed a light in young Aretha he wanted to ignite. He was quick to identify and showcase her tremendous talent. As a father and preacher, he would set her on a chair in front of the assembly to ensure she was heard and seen as an angel's voice came from her petite frame. Aretha was singing in church at 10 and fantasized of becoming a gospel singer. As high as the notes she effortlessly attained, Aretha joined the junior choir that accompanied her father on evangelical trips as a teenager. Instead of just singing, it was a masterclass in performance and spirituality, a chance to see how music can transform hearts and souls. During a speaking tour to California, the Franklin family was transformed. Aretha met Soul Stir's dynamic lead singer Sam Cooke here. Cooke's career change from gospel to secular pop was controversial and innovative. Aretha was fascinated and intrigued by Cooke's smooth transition between both realms. This proved her angelic singing skills could transcend the church and reverberate on a larger scale. The experience with Cook did more than amaze Aretha. It seeded the seeds of ambition, fantasies of reaching a wider audience without sacrificing her gospel origins. Before we explore Aretha's life and the shocking revelations regarding her father, let's look at him. Reverend C.L. Franklin was a father, pastor, and cultural and spiritual leader in his community. Comprehending his influence and weaknesses is essential to comprehending Aretha's surroundings, which made her a powerful artist and complex woman. C.L. Franklin was Clarence LaVaughn Franklin. Franklin rose from a Mississippi sharecropper to one of America's most charismatic preachers. Born Clarence LaVaughn Walker in the tough fields his parents, Willie and Rachel Walker, worked, he was raised in hardship. In 1919, Willie, a World War I veteran, gave his newborn son a single gift, a strict order to salute, a mark of discipline and respect that would eventually define C.L. tragically. C.L. died at 4. Faced father abandonment. The following year, his mother remarried Henry Franklin, whose surname they took, for stability. C.L. survived his early ups and downs, was fast to find his calling. He preached in church at 16 with maturity above his years. His experience on the black itinerant preaching circuit was a spiritual adventure that forged his fiery oratory and charismatic leadership. He took the pulpit of Friendship Baptist Church in Buffalo, New York, in May 1944 due to his dedication to his work. When he became pastor at New Bethel Baptist Church in Detroit in June 1946, his influence grew. In the late 1940s and 1950s, C.L. Franklin's renown grew due to his million-dollar voice. This authoritative voice spoke of hope, redemption, and social justice that touched the community. C.L. Franklin was sought after in religious and civil rights circles for his powerful, eloquent preaching that transcended New Bethel Baptist Church. Bringing spirituality to social issues made his messages groundbreaking. He developed ways to question and transform society at his house, where Martin Luther King Jr. often met. As a child, Aretha Franklin witnessed her father's strong leadership and absorbed his multifaceted nature. Dominant public influence and private weaknesses formed Aretha's artistic path, instilling soul and perseverance in her music that would honor her father and leave her own mark on music history. The layers of Aretha's father-daughter connection reveal C.L. Franklin shaped his daughter's fate through his parenting and his life's cadences and values. C.L. Franklin was a charismatic pastor from Detroit's New Bethel Baptist Church and a national orator. Franklin inspired souls and minds with every sermon he preached, whether at his church or across America. Thanks to Joe Von Battle's pioneering JVB label, which diligently recorded and released many of his sermons, his spiritual understanding was shared far beyond his church. His passionate sermons were carried on radio every Sunday, turning the dial into a pulpit and reaching homes nationwide. His appeal rippled throughout the social spectrum via the airwaves, elevating him and expanding his impact beyond churchgoers. C.L. received large financial benefits. He charged up to $4,000 per public appearance, demonstrating his popularity and the worth of his oratory. The Eagle Stirreth Her Nest and Dry Bones in the Valley were among his most memorable sermons due to their powerful allegorical meaning and fascinating delivery. In 2011, the Library of Congress added the former to the National Recording Registry, solidifying its place in American cultural history. C.L. Franklin also excelled in whooping, a dynamic and rhythmic preaching style that combined gospel singing with sermonic proclamation, captivating his congregation with a beautiful and powerful delivery that brought the gospel to life. His popularity and charismatic personality were sometimes tarnished by scandal. Most prominent was William Branham's deception in plagiarizing Franklin's The Eagle Stirreth Her Nest, repackaging and presenting it to mostly white audiences as his original work to co-opt his intellectual property and limit his influence. Behind the pulpit's reverence, C.L. Franklin's personal life was full with inconsistencies and controversies that defied his public image. Under his leadership, his church hosted spiritual and scandalous events that stunned even Ray Charles, a musician known for his hedonism. C.L. Franklin's narrative is a rich tapestry of victory and turmoil linked by a deep spiritual legacy and human frailties. In this larger-than-life story, the man who could lift many spirits struggled with the earthly temptations of wealth, creating a revered and divisive character. Charles said the church crowd was more unruly than him, which was surprising given his active lifestyle. Billy Preston, an R&B and gospel musician, said that anything went in the church and that gay men made a lot of the music, even though they were considered sissies outside the church. C.L. Franklin's marriages and relationships were also controversial. Clarence LaVaughn Franklin married Aline Gaines on October 16, 1934, at 18. The union ended unexpectedly in early 1936 without public explanation. This cryptic ending set up another chapter in Franklin's complicated existence. Franklin married gospel singer Barbara Siggers on June 3, 1936, months after his first marriage failed. This marriage produced 4 children and a complex family life that transcended traditional bounds, the C.L. story. According to his biographer, Nick Salvatore, Franklin's domestic life darkened. Franklin had a daughter named Carol Ellen Kelly with 12-year-old Mildred Jennings at New Salem Baptist Church in Memphis after a deeply inappropriate relationship with her. This shocking occurrence violated preachers' moral and spiritual duties. While married, Barbara brought her son Vaughn from a prior relationship. C.L. Vaughn was adopted by the Franklin family without revealing his parentage. After C.L., the truth emerged in 1951, and Barbara's divorce shattered Vaughn's family history. The couple never reconciled since Barbara died suddenly from a heart attack at 34 in 1952. C.L. made a shocking move. Franklin's refusal to attend her funeral tarnished his reputation and muddled the public's view of the enigmatic preacher. Despite his flaws and scandals, C.L. Franklin's civil rights work was notable. He fought to end Detroit United Auto Workers' discrimination against black workers in the 1950s and 1960s. His civil rights activism showed a paradoxical figure who could wield great public power while navigating moral and personal problems. C.L. Franklin inspired and led in public, but his personal life was full with paradoxes and moral failures. His complicated legacy of leadership, activism, and personal turmoil tells the story of a flawed yet significant character. He led Martin Luther King Jr.'s June 1963 Freedom March on Woodward Avenue in Detroit as a friend and supporter. On June 10, 1979, C.L. Franklin was shot twice at point-blank range during an attempted robbery at his Detroit home. He remained comatose for 5 years. 6 months after the incident, his children moved him home and provided 24-hour nursing care until mid-1984. C.L. Franklin died at 69 at Detroit's New Light Nursing Home on July 27, 1984. Questionable C.L. behavior. Franklin raised questions about Aretha. In Detroit, her father was suspected of fathering her child when she became pregnant as a teenager. C.L.'s Holy Ghost music-making and adult scene. That, combined with Aretha's anxieties from her mother Barbara's departure due to C.L.'s promiscuity, contributed to her lifelong relationship and intimacy. Troubles. Paternity claims. Aretha Franklin having a child with her father has been rumored for decades. When Aretha was 12, she had her firstborn son, Clarence, whose paternity is at issue. The fact that Aretha named her kid after her father, C.L. Franklin, has only fueled the belief that he fathered the child. Aretha never named Clarence's father, leaving speculation and innuendo to fill the void. Cecil Franklin, Aretha's brother and manager, provided some insight on the David Ritz conversation. Cecil said the father was Aretha's schoolmate, whom she knew but didn't like, and he doubted the young guy liked her either. And from these roots, Aretha downplayed the pregnancy as normal. Cecil agreed, saying their father wasn't upset. He seemed to understand that these things occurred and gathered his children to warn them about sexual activity. Aretha became pregnant again at 15 years old. In one of her handwritten wills, found after her 2019 death, she named the father Edward Jordan. Second child Edward Derone Franklin, named after his father, was born on August 31, 1957. Aretha's memoir indicates her father was tolerant of her second pregnancy, but her brother Cecil told Ritz otherwise. The scenario did not please their father, who expressed his disapproval. Aretha avoided discussing her early pregnancy in interviews throughout her career. She raised her children with her grandma Rachel and sister Irma while singing and socializing. Aretha visited her children often despite the challenges of balancing family and her career. 2 divorces marked Aretha's romantic life. Ted White was her first husband, whom she married at 18 in 1961. Years before they married, Aretha met White at a 1954 reception at her house. Unfortunately, their marriage was not perfect. Domestic fear strained Aretha's connection with White. Cecil, Aretha's brother, stressed that White was a violent man whose irresponsibility worsened over time. Cecil saw that Aretha's respect song didn't seem to affect White's actions. He proceeded to abuse Aretha, disrespecting anyone who witnessed his violence. As her marriage suffered, Aretha allegedly turned to alcohol to cope. This surprised her agent, Ruth Bowen, who noticed Aretha becoming drunk before performances. Bowen noted that this exercise did not improve Aretha's vocals. Aretha refused to admit she had a drinking problem. Aretha's talent shielded her from criticism, despite her many falls, fines, and drunken performances. Her voice topped most other singers even while drunk, so few could tell anything was wrong. Aretha never openly discussed her alcoholism. Aretha hid her difficulties, unlike many other superstars who have gained fans by sharing their struggles. Aretha divorced White in 1969 after years of suffering in her unhappy marriage. This changed her life as she sought to end violence and recover her independence. Aretha married actor Glyn Turman in her father's church on April 11, 1978, her second marriage. Aretha married Turman and became a stepmother to his 3 children, expanding her family and responsibilities. Their union was brief. After Aretha returned to Michigan from California in 1982, they separated and divorced in 1984. Aretha's family shaped her life and career beyond her marriages. Aretha's sisters Irma and Carolyn were talented musicians who sang background vocals on many of her songs. The Franklin family's musical collaborations showed their closeness and shared love of music. After Aretha divorced Ted White, her brother Cecil became her manager until his lung illness death on December 26, 1989. Aretha lost her oldest sister Irma to throat cancer in September 2002 and her sister Carolyn to breast cancer in April 1988. Aretha struggled with losing her loving siblings. The discovery that Aretha's half-sister, Carol Ellen Kelly, was her father's daughter, complicated her family history. L. Franklin and 12-year-old Mildred Jennings, his congregation member. Aretha found comfort in her friendships and career despite her failures. Willie Wilkerson, a Vietnam War veteran and Detroit firefighter, was her close buddy. Wilkerson helped Aretha throughout her career and during her illness, showing their affection. Aretha proposed to Wilkerson in 2012, but the engagement was broken up for unknown circumstances. Aretha's music industry friendships mattered. Aretha had close relationships with Dionne Warwick, Mavis Staples, and Cissy Houston, who sang with her in the Sweet Inspirations. Houston sang background vocals on Aretha's Ain't No Way, demonstrating the creative atmosphere among these great females. Aretha and Cissy were acquainted with Whitney Houston. Aretha met Whitney in the early 1970s and became her honorary aunt, which she loved. Whitney often called Aretha Auntie Ree, demonstrating their closeness. Unfortunately, a leg spasm forced Aretha to cancel her performance at Whitney's 2012 memorial service. Later life. As we continue to study Aretha Franklin's life, let's focus on her later years and her personal and professional struggles. Aretha's performance of My Country, 'Tis of Thee, at President Barack Obama's inaugural ceremony on January 20, 2009, garnered headlines worldwide. Her stunning performance and iconic church hat quickly went viral online, cementing her cultural status. Yale University awarded Aretha an honorary degree in 2010 for her music and cultural contributions. She gave another stunning performance of You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman at the Kennedy Center Honors in December 2015, honoring co-writer Carole King. Despite her fame, Aretha battled depression and self-doubt throughout her life. Inadequacy often led to jealousy of other female vocalists, including Roberta Flack, Barbra Streisand, Gladys Knight, Dionne Warwick, Diana Ross, and Natalie Cole. Aretha's sister Carolyn said she worried she wasn't good enough as a singer, pretty enough, or a committed mother. Whatever you call it, deep insecurity. Self-doubt plagued Aretha and ruined her relationships with peers. After duetting with Whitney Houston on It Isn't, It Wasn't, It Ain't Never Gonna Be in 1989, Aretha said, Whitney lacked my wisdom and maturity as a recording artist. This comment highlighted the music industry's competitiveness and Aretha's will to remain Queen of Soul. Aretha defended her position and legacy even in her later years. Beyoncé introduced Tina Turner as Queen at the 2008 Grammys, and Aretha couldn't hold back her thoughts. She said, I don't know whose toes I stepped on or whose ego I hurt between Grammy writers and Beyoncé. However, I dismissed it as a cheap shot for controversy. Nicki Minaj? Nicki Minaj, I'll skip that. Aretha's sister Irma, who died in 2002, said, Aretha's always had problems with her female contemporaries. Her dream is to sing alone once they all disappear. Her dream is to defeat rivals. Besides her professional rivalry, Aretha had major health challenges in her latter years. She struggled with weight for decades, changing it throughout her career. A very low-calorie diet helped her lose 40 pounds in 1974 and keep it off for the rest of the decade. She got some weight back in the early 1990s. On my days off, I gather all the recipes I've torn from hundreds of magazines and make any that catch my eye. Smoking and drinking harmed Aretha's health. In 1992, she quit chain smoking because it was hurting her voice. Aretha said her weight rose after quitting smoking, bringing more health problems. Aretha had surgery for an undisclosed tumor in 2010, raising health concerns. In 2011, she said her doctor said the treatment would add 20 years to her life. Aretha strongly denied that the ailment was pancreatic cancer and told her supporters that it had been fixed. After the surgery, she shed 85 pounds but denied undergoing weight loss surgery. Aretha kept performing and sharing her music despite her health concerns. Her comeback at the Chicago Theater in May 2011 was followed by multi-city tours where she dazzled audiences with her voice. Aretha's health deteriorated in 2013, forcing her to postpone multiple engagements due to unknown medical treatments. In an interview, she said she had a miracle cure but wanted to focus on her health before returning to the stage. Aretha said in February 2017 that 2017 would be her last year touring, acknowledging that her health issues had hampered her performance. Her doctors advised her to cancel some 2018 musical dates. Aretha was seriously ill at home in Detroit on August 13, 2018, surrounded by family and friends. Several celebrities, including Stevie Wonder and Jesse Jackson, visited her in hospice care. Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul, died at 76 on August 16, 2018. Malignant pancreatic neuroendocrine tumors, a rare and deadly pancreatic cancer, ended her vivacious life. The news shocked celebrities, politicians, and fans worldwide as they mourned the passing of an irreplaceable icon whose voice spanned race, age, and time. After Aretha's electrifying performance at his inauguration, former President Barack Obama wrote that her indomitable spirit and strong voice helped define the American experience. Al Sharpton, a civil rights leader and pastor, praised her for transforming the music industry and promoting equality and justice. Aretha's death was as significant as her existence. As per her wishes, the Greater Grace Temple in Detroit hosted a star-studded burial service with celebrities from all walks of life. Jasper Williams Jr. of Salem Baptist Church in Atlanta was charged with delivering her eulogy, which became controversial. The eulogy became political as gospel hymns played and honors were given. Williams' statements, meant to praise Aretha, were met with criticism for being seen as a political rant. The gathering was to celebrate and reflect on the life of a woman who had given so much to the world, but the eulogy seemed to overwhelm everything. Vaughn, Aretha's nephew, expressed the family's dissatisfaction, saying the eulogy failed to reflect Aretha's essence, and instead promoted the pastor's ideas. Fans and followers expressed their dismay at the wasted opportunity to appropriately eulogize an icon in the church seats and on social media. Despite the controversy, the service was a worthy tribute to a lady whose life was a symphony of struggle, victory, and musical genius. The funeral of Aretha Franklin was a moment of reflection for a world changed by her. Her legacy in music and culture is timeless, a monument to her talent and impact on society and music. Thanks for watching our video. If you like this deep dive into today's topic and want to see more fascinating material, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. We value your feedback, so please leave it below. See you next time for more thoughts and discussions. Keep exploring, learning, and sharing till then. Thanks for joining our community.